just another nigga known with the strap, man. Don't cap or your ass going cap, man. You never mix business with new friends. Get booked, then cooked by the crack, man. You gon' make a nigga slide with my jacks, man. With a pump that'll leave a nigga flat dead. Put that bitch to his shit and shoot again. Face shots, make a op do a back bend.
Now searching for the person who shot a 13-year-old boy in Portage Park. Investigators say that boy was outside on Montrose right near Austin at 8 last night when a dark-colored SUV drove past. Someone inside that SUV fired several shots, which hit the boy in the leg. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital in good condition.
A 13-year-old was injured in a drive-by shooting on the northwest side.
Eric is live in Park Ridge with more. Eric?
Good morning. The 13-year-old boy should be okay. He was hit in the leg around 8 o'clock last night. This shooting appears to have happened in or near the alley in the 6000 block of West Montrose. That is in the Portage Park neighborhood. Police say a dark-colored SUV drove past the boy and someone inside opened fire, hitting the child in the left leg. No arrests have been made. At last check, the teen was listed in good condition. We are live in Park Ridge. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
A teenager recovering this morning after he was shot in a drive-by last night in Portage Park. Eric Rung has more.
The 13-year-old boy was shot just down this alley off of North Austin last night around 8 o'clock. According to police, the teenager was shot in his left leg and taken to Lutheran General in Park Ridge. Police say the shooter was in a dark-colored SUV. I talked to several neighbors off camera who told me they heard the shooting but didn't recognize the victim's name, which we are withholding at the moment due to his age, making it unclear if he lived nearby. Right now, police do not have anyone in custody. At last check, the teenage boy was listed in good condition. In Portage Park, Eric Rung, WGN News.
Chicago police right now are searching for this missing 16-year-old who they say might need medical attention right now. Richard House was last seen on Sunday near Taylor and Canal Street. He's 5'10". He has blonde dreadlocks, and he was last seen wearing black sweatpants, a black T-shirt, and carrying a blue book bag. If you have any information, you're asked to call police.
A man charged with killing a Chicago police officer and wounding his partner is asking now to represent himself in court. Alfonso Talley is accused of the deadly shooting of Officer John Bartholomew at Swedish Hospital back in April. Talley pleaded not guilty last month. Talley's public defender said he hopes Talley changes his mind when it comes to representing himself.
We are letting Alfonso know that as licensed attorneys who have been practicing in this field for a long time, that we're in the best position to represent himself. I think he just feels confused about a lot of the charges and scared about what's happening right now.
To sort all this out, another court date is set for next week.
This story has a positive ending. A nonverbal man living with autism wandering the streets of Niles last month was met by a police officer who reached for her newly issued sensory kit to help calm the man, build trust, and ultimately reunite him with his caregivers. Niles police officer Jessica Zia was on patrol late last month when a call came in for a suspicious person walking on the side of the road.
You okay? You all right? Are you trying to get somewhere? He was pacing back and forth, stopped, and looked confused.
Officer Zia asked a series of questions to try and identify the man and get him home.
You said you came from Chicago? Okay. Are you lost?
She quickly realized he was nonverbal, and this call would be different than most. Officer Zia went into her trunk and grabbed her newly issued autism sensory kit.
Have you played with this before?
Filled with toys, sensory devices, and objects, all tools designed to bridge the communication gap during emergencies.
Now I got to think outside the box, like, how am I going to handle this? My end goal was to get him home. It was really hot that day.
So many in the autism community who were so fearful to contact law enforcement.
Tamika Lachey Morales, president of the Autism Hero Project, says along with communication, the kits also reduce stress and have the potential for safer outcomes.
For autistic individuals who elope or wander, Drowning and traffic-related incidents are among the leading causes of fatal outcomes.
Niles police social worker Tony Bertram says every squad car was recently equipped with one of the Autism Hero Project sensory kits.
Officer Zia used it on the street for the first time 20 days after we received the kits. And she applied the correct tools from the bag with very little training.
I need to know the group home name. Can you think for me what it would be called?
Officer Zia sat patiently with the man for about an hour and determined the 25-year-old walked more than 6 miles from a group home in Chicago.
We're gonna get you back, okay?
He was taken to the hospital for observation and released.
I'd rather have that call than any other call I could gloat about catching a bad guy. My job is to help.
And she certainly helped that day. Just days before Officer Zia encountered the young man on the road, another Niles police officer had a similar encounter. Officer Zia was able to then contact his mom and his social worker.
I mean, this is how it's supposed to work.
Exactly.
And it did. Yeah. Great story, Charlie. Thanks.
As family and friends prepare to say their goodbyes to this dedicated CTA worker next week, the union president, who was also a good friend to Barlow, says the person who police say is in that video must be identified quickly because he poses a risk to just about everyone's safety.
He had a big heart and a beautiful smile. And if he could help you, he definitely would help you.
Now friends of Thomas Kevin Barlow need the community to help solve his murder. Chicago police releasing new video of this man. He's spotted on various security cameras wandering this South Side area overnight on June 29th.
When I first saw that video, I was angry. Because this individual is walking the streets like with no worry in the world.
Yet police say after walking by Harlan High School at 96th in Michigan, the man wandered near the CTA train yard off 95th and the Dan Ryan.
We don't know what state of mind this individual is in. He had a weapon. He's roaming the neighborhood.
Barlow was working in the switch yard when he stepped outside to his vehicle parked on the street. Police say the man in the video carjacked his Mercedes, shot and killed Barlow while on the job. His CTA family says it's imperative someone identify this person because he's a threat to everyone.
That could have been anybody.
The ATU Local 308 president says as this guy roams, accused of taking one life, CTA workers back at that yard are just as nervous because they've complained about the lack of security for those working overnight hours.
There have been several other incidents where co-workers have been robbed and things of that nature at this same location.
In the video, police say the man is wearing a distinctive Bears hoodie. They're hoping it will be enough to have someone recognize the person's walk or clothing.
That's why we need the public to come forward and turn in whoever this is.
Now, for a better look at that suspect in that video that police released, just head over to our website at cbschicago.com. We should note that there is a reward for information leading to an arrest.
Police released video of a person of interest in connection with the death of a CTA employee last month. The video shows a man wearing a gray hooded shirt with a bear claw on the back and dark pants. Kevin Barlow was carjacked and killed early in the morning of June 29th near a CTA facility on 99th and State. He'd worked for the agency for 20 years. You can contact Area 2 detectives if you have any information or if you recognize a person on that screen.
1, 2, 3.
An emotional groundbreaking ceremony today for Chicago's Torture Justice Memorial. The site in Washington Park will honor survivors who were tortured in the custody of Chicago police.
Building this memorial means that Chicago has finally heard what we had to say.
This is what the $4.7 million project will look like. The memorial will tell the story of racially motivated police torture in Chicago, featuring gardens for reflecting and seating for educational programs.
A 16-year-old is now charged in a 2024 mass shooting in the West Chatham neighborhood. This happened in February of 2024 at a home on Vincennes and 80th. Chicago police say the teen was just 13 years old when he participated in the murders of 3 people, including that of a 14-year-old boy. The suspect is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. He's the second person to be arrested. Prosecutors previously charged Antonio Velasco with those murders as well. Court documents say all of them were at home smoking marijuana. Then hours later, someone opened fire. An 18-year-old is now facing charges after police say he shot into a home in the south suburbs. That shooting happened back in March in Oak Forest near Cicero and Nottingwood. Officers say no one was hurt, but now Jordan Butler is charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm. A judge ordered him to remain in custody during a court hearing this week.
In late July 2024, El Chapo's son, Joaquin Guzman Lopez, got off a plane in the southwestern U.S. after a short mystery flight from Mexico. Chapo's kin was quickly brought to Chicago, where he has since cut a deal with prosecutors to avoid a life sentence, and he's now cooperating with federal law enforcement. How this plane came to bring Guzman Lopez and Sinaloa cartel founder Mayo Zambada to justice in America has never been explained. And now Mexican leaders say the U.S. story is riddled with lies. When this turboprop landed at a rural airfield in New Mexico almost 2 years ago, U.S. federal agents were waiting. Two of the most powerful cartel kingpins walking the earth walked off the plane. 76-year-old Mayo Zambada, who co-founded the ruthless Sinaloa cartel with El Chapo, and El Chapo's son Joaquin, who was helping to run cartel operations while his father was in a U.S. prison. Together, they oversaw a multi-billion-dollar business that supplied 80% of Chicago's street drugs the past 3 decades, according to U.S. investigators. The plane that mysteriously delivered them to justice has a new home, this New Mexico Aviation Museum, replete with the drug traffickers' chip bags and pop cans consumed on the cross-border flight. This man says the plane belongs to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Connell Wetton runs the FBI field office in nearby El Paso, Texas, and says the Bureau gave this aircraft to the museum not to pay homage to drug lords, but as the token of a war on drugs win.
The focus here is that they were brought to the United States and they are facing their charges.
Mexico's president and top justice officials there are questioning whether the plane symbolizes an illegal U.S. government operation to get the cartel leaders into custody, violating extradition treaties. They've accused former U.S. Ambassador to Mexico Ken Salazar of lying about it, to which Salazar repeats in a new social media post, "Not our plane, not our pilot, and not our operation. The truth is the truth." His new book later this month will say Mexican officials were concerned that cartel leaders could blow the whistle on corruption. Former DEA Chicago Division official Mike Gannon says it's obvious federal law enforcement had some knowledge of the plane ride, and he says Mexico should be applauding U.S. counter-cartel efforts, not calling them into question.
Two of the most powerful people in the drug trafficking world, and they were charged. They got to the United States and they're being held accountable. At the end of the day, I don't see anything wrong with it. They should be questioning why they weren't able to apprehend him for all these years.
El Chapo's son has pleaded guilty in Chicago and awaits sentencing. El Mayo has also pleaded guilty. He will be sentenced a week from Monday in Brooklyn, New York. With both men giving up court trials, there will be no public display of evidence. That means we are unlikely to ever hear answers under oath about how they were flown into the U.S., leaving the mysterious flight from Mexico up to Hollywood scriptwriters, who undoubtedly would have a field day with this story. Back to you.
Yeah, Joe and Erica, police have closed off access to this road behind me here in Mundelein for several hours now. This incident, they continue to investigate to learn exactly what happened. It left one person injured, another dead. Police tape blocks off a portion of Deep Woods Drive off Lake Street in Mundelein. It's in this area, police say, where a man and a woman were shot in an apartment building around 11:40 this morning. Paramedics rushed both victims to the hospital. The man died at the hospital. The woman's injuries are said to be not life-threatening. Heavily armed officers on the scene canvassed the area searching for suspects.
I just got home from work. I live in the building that it happened in.
Some neighbors said they waited for hours before being able to access their homes as police investigated. One woman who says she lives in the building where the shooting took place says there's been tension there, but never expected it to reach this level.
There has been a lot of chaos here. A lot of people, there's fights here. I would say there's a lot of arguments going on in this building.
Witnesses gave Mundelein investigators a description of a suspect vehicle, and authorities say Illinois State Police located the vehicle on the Bishop Ford near 130th Street, where they took a man and a woman into custody. The Lake County Major Crimes Task Force says they believe this incident was a targeted domestic-related one, but they will continue to investigate to learn exactly how this all unfolded. Meanwhile, as you see, the police tape is still up. Police squad cars are still here, and we mentioned how residents have had trouble accessing their apartments there. I also spoke with a construction crew that was doing work in this area. They've had to go home early for the day, so a lot of folks monitoring for when this scene will clear up. For now, reporting live in Mundelein, Victor Jacobo, CBS News, Chicago.
Victor, thank you.
And we begin with breaking news on this Tuesday in north suburban Mundelein. Police surrounding an apartment building there after 2 people were found shot inside. A man died after he was taken to the hospital. A woman was seriously injured. Mundelein police telling us that they quickly broadcast information about a suspect's vehicle, and Illinois State Police ended up stopping that car on an interstate near the Indiana border. We're told a man and a woman were taken into custody. Investigators describing this as a targeted domestic incident.
Developing tonight, one person is dead after a shooting in a Mundelein apartment. Neighbors are in shock. WGN's Jeremy Ross has details.
Police are calling this an isolated, targeted domestic incident, one that turned fatal, one that's involving multiple police departments.
So yeah, I heard that there was gunshots.
A conflict began inside this apartment complex. It ended with panic calls for help and emergency responders in a desperate situation.
They said it was very bloody, and the person looked non-responsive.
Police tape and squads began surfacing at Lake Street and Deepwoods Drive Tuesday just before noon. Mundelein police responded to gunshots. The Lake County Major Crime Task Force brought Buffalo Grove, Lincolnshire, Antioch, and others to investigate.
It was like cops from every town around here. Was a little bit odd. Seeing the news here was I can tell it was something severe.
Neighbor Angela Gutierrez saw the police presence.
The fact that it happened here is kind of rare and kind of scary.
Kind of nerve-wracking because I live on the first building as well, and it looks like the police activity is right near where my house is. So it's a little nerve-wracking to see that going on.
Cassandra Embreeze lives at the complex. Her friends and neighbors described hearing conflict, gunfire, and the police response. Law enforcement says Mundelein police arrived and located 2 victims suffering gunshot wounds. A woman was transported to an area hospital with serious injuries. A man was also transported with a gunshot wound, but later died. Officers quickly developed a description of the vehicle involved and shared the information with law enforcement nearby. That's when Illinois State Police located the vehicle on an interstate near the Indiana border. Cops conducted a traffic stop and took a man and woman into custody.
Okay, yeah, I think that's good that they're being steady on finding the person who did it. No one deserves to die in any tragic matter. It hits close to home because it's right here, and I just hope they can find peace.
Police say the woman who was shot suffered non-life-threatening injuries. In Mundelein, Jeremy Ross, WGN News.
This is new. A South Holland man is now charged in yesterday's deadly shooting in suburban Mundelein. Police say DeAndre Harris was at his girlfriend's apartment when he shot a man and a woman. The man died from his injuries. The woman was seriously hurt. Police say they found a gun in the suspect's car. Harris is charged with first-degree murder and aggravated battery with a firearm.
Murder charges have now been filed against a man for a deadly shooting in an apartment complex in Mundelein. 21-year-old DeAndre Harris now facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and aggravated battery. Prosecutors say Harris was dating a 19-year-old woman who lived in the apartment on Deepwoods Drive. While he was there yesterday, he allegedly got into an argument with a 48-year-old man who also lived in the apartment. Prosecutors say he pulled out a semi-automatic weapon and shot the man and the man's 47-year-old girlfriend. Illinois State Police later pulled him over near the Indiana state line and took him into custody.
Are partnering with some social service agencies, community groups here at Sankofa Village Wellness Center. It is brand new. It just opened this spring, and it brings a bunch of organizations, medical resources and others right here to the neighborhood where it is needed. That mass shooting, it was over the weekend, and it wounded 6 people. 5 of them are teenagers. Neighbors said that there were hundreds of people on the streets at Maypole and Hamlin for the 4th of July. It appeared to be a teen takeover across the street from Garfield Park. Shots rang out. There was an elevated police presence. First responders heard gunfire as they tried to tend to the wounded. 6 people were hit, a person in their 20s and 5 teenagers. And minutes before, a 17-year-old girl was shot and critically wounded in a separate incident on that very same block. One witness said it was a peaceful celebration until the shooting started. So now the Emergency Assistance Center is open right now for anyone who is impacted by violence. It doesn't have to be from that mass shooting. It could be anyone at any time. They can be connected to mental health services or social service agencies, or they can talk to Chicago police who are here to listen. Reporting live, I'm Joni Lum, Fox Chicago.
I know a lot of families are looking for those solutions there, Joni. Thank you.
Following breaking news on the South Side, where a chaotic night left one person dead and sent another to the hospital.
And within just the last few hours, 2 shootings erupted less than a mile apart. A large teen gathering took place just steps away. Asal Razai live at the University of Chicago Medical Center, where the victims were taken. Asal?
Yeah, Audrina, Dana, police say they found a man in his 20s unresponsive in the street. Hours later, a woman in her 60s was brought here to the emergency room in critical condition after a shooting. We have a lot of new video to show you this morning. Take a look. You'll see police lined up at this scene on 54th Street and Peoria. This is in the back of the Yards neighborhood just before 7 o'clock last night. You can see police at this scene. This is where officers found a 26-year-old man in the street with a gunshot wound to his chest. He was later pronounced dead here at UChicago Hospital. Then about 3 hours later, just before 10 o'clock, you can see police putting down at least 6 evidence markers we counted. This is near 59th Street and Halsted. Police say a 66-year-old woman was standing outside when she was shot in the chest. It's possible she was hit by a stray bullet, as police say 2 cars drove by while exchanging gunfire. That victim in critical condition again at last check here. The chaos continuing near 54th Street and Peoria, it seems, until about midnight. This video shows a large group of young people in the street surrounded by Chicago police officers. You can hear police at one point ordering people to disperse over their radios. We saw someone being taken away in handcuffs from that crowd. We're still trying to confirm the details of that scene with Chicago police. So far this morning, they say no arrests have been made in connection to those 2 shootings. They say they're still investigating right now. We're live at U of C. Asal Razai, CBS News, Chicago.
Asal, thank you for those updates.
Police responded to 3 separate incidents in a short amount of time, happening not too far from each other. One of those incidents is right here in Inglewood, where a woman was shot while she was waiting for a ride. Surveillance video shows the moments that led up to a 66-year-old woman who was shot. You can see a tow truck on Halsted waiting to turn left onto 59th Street. The woman is sitting on a bench, and as the truck turns, you can see a quick flash. We froze the video before the woman slumps over, rocks back and forth, and then walks around. Anthony Allen is a security guard for the BP gas station. He says he heard a woman yelling she had been shot.
That's when I went to her, and she told me she'd been shot, and it was like the blood was coming from in the middle. And
Allen says he was inside the store when he heard the gunshot.
They immediately formed to lock the doors, and all the people that's in the store go to the back.
Police say this happened just before 10 last night. You can see officers putting several evidence markers on the ground where the woman was shot. Police say 2 cars drove by exchanging gunfire. She's listed in critical condition. And around 7 last night, a 26-year-old was shot less than a mile away near 54th and Peoria. The victim was taken to the University of Chicago Hospital, where he died. And at that same intersection, video from the scene in the back of the Yards neighborhood showed officers responding to what appeared to be a large teen gathering in the street. You can see at least 1 person being taken away in handcuffs. Officers remained at the scene until midnight.
I'm tired of the violence.
And so are A Knock at Midnight, a nonprofit community-based organization in Inglewood. They came to the gas station promoting peace and to offer resources.
The goal is to try to get them to stop it. It's nonsense. They're killing each other for no reason.
Police say no one has been arrested in both shootings. Reporting in Inglewood, Sade Gray, CBS News, Chicago.
A security guard working at this gas station near 59th and Halstead tells us he heard those gunshots and he even rushed across the street here to help the woman who he says was shot in her chest. He also tells us that 66-year-old woman was celebrating her birthday yesterday and now she's in the hospital suffering from critical injuries. Surveillance video shows the moments before a woman was shot by a stray bullet while sitting on this bench in Englewood. Police say people inside two vehicles were exchanging gunfire as they turned onto 59th Street, but ended up hitting the woman, and we've frozen the video right before she was shot.
She hollering for help, and she's not on the ground, but she's leaning over. And I came over and I seen her, then I opened up her coat. She's bleeding. Police say the woman was initially treated at the scene before being rushed to the University of Chicago Hospital. She was cooperating with me, talking to me. Kid, I kept on letting her talk to me. It was her birthday, and she was telling me it's not supposed to happen, and I told her only God knows that. Today, an anti-violence organization called A Knock at Midnight spent the day going across Englewood, sharing resources in hopes of deterring these shootings.
We try to engage the community. We try to offer them resources. We try to offer mental health assistance, even education, employment, something to change the narrative, because a lot of our homes are broken. So we try to meet them where they at and show them that it's not the end and it's also hope out there.
So that woman remains in the hospital at this time, and police tell us no one has been arrested.
Yeah, good morning. Chicago police are investigating two shootings, one of them deadly. The other left a 66-year-old woman in critical condition, all while having to deal with that large crowd.
No loitering, please disperse. No loitering, please disperse.
Police made at least one arrest, and there were reports of officers being hit with bottles and other objects. The crowd had spilled out onto the streets near 54th and South Peoria, not far from where 26-year-old Daryl Hall was shot and killed around 7 o'clock last night. Police say they found him unresponsive and with a gunshot wound to the chest. Not long after that shooting, police were investigating another shooting at 59th and South Halstead. Police say a 66-year-old woman waiting for a ride was shot when people in two cars started shooting at each other near that intersection. She was also hit in the chest. She is at the University of Chicago Medical Center. At last check, that 66-year-old was listed in critical condition. No arrests have been made in either shooting. We're live in Bridgeport. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
Well, good morning to you guys. We're talking about two shootings here that happened about 3 hours apart and also only about a mile separating each of these incidents. The first shooting happened just before 7 p.m. last night near 54th and Peoria in the city's Back of the Yards neighborhood. Police say that officers found a 26-year-old man in the streets with a gunshot wound to the chest. He was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center where he later died. Witness video captured large crowds gathering after the shooting, but according to CPD, there is no indication that this incident was connected to a street takeover. Then a couple of hours later, another shooting unfolded near 59th and Halstead. Police say that a 66-year-old woman was outside waiting for a ride when two dark-colored vehicles drove by and the people inside those vehicles exchanged gunfire. Investigators say that the woman in that incident was not the intended target. She was struck in the chest and remains in critical condition. We're told right now that detectives are investigating both of these shootings as of this morning, and so far nobody is in custody. Reporting live this morning outside of CPD headquarters at 35th and Michigan, I'm Brian Jackson for Fox Chicago.
Anita, Bridgeport residents were alarmed when they saw multiple police cars surrounding a house at 30th and Emerald Street. Witnesses say they saw police carrying out multiple weapons, what they thought were long rifles and automatic weapons. And many of them talked about it, but they did not want to be identified because right now a lot is not known. Neighbors say the family that lives in this house are nice people, a couple with children. But Sunday they noticed police activity and saw one of the kids outside shaking.
It was pretty scary to see the cops surround our block around the corner. There was like 6 squad cars, over 10 police officers. The people are very nice, so we didn't know what was going on. Chicago police confirmed they responded to an altercation between a 47-year-old man and a 55-year-old man.
They say the argument became physical when the older man battered the younger man. Police were seen carrying out dozens of firearms, including what one neighbor described as an AR-15. One appeared to be built on an AK-47 frame. It is illegal to own those types of guns in Chicago.
It was very shocking to see that happen, especially to such a great family that we know for a long time.
You've known them to be a
nice, quiet, peaceful family. They don't bother nobody.
That's kind of scary that all those firearms were in that home, especially with kids being in there.
And neighbors say that they saw police return to that house multiple times this week. Police say they placed the 55-year-old man in custody. Area 1 detectives are still investigating. Anita?
Joni, so much of what you just said you would deem as disturbing, but that ending point there, children being in the home, I mean, my goodness.
That is what's very upsetting to the parents there. One of the parents told me that her son had been in that home visiting a friend. Now she's feeling not really great about that. Now, police didn't say that the weapons were obtained illegally. They said that those kinds of weapons are not legal to have here. Anita?
Well, that's an important distinction, but still understanding that there are a lot of people who are concerned right now. Thank you, Joni.
New here at 6 o'clock, an NBC5 investigative team has learned that a free-flowing gun pipeline between Georgia and Chicago has been shut down by federal authorities.
Unfortunately, not before an arsenal of illicit guns have made it to the streets and been used in violent crimes for years. Our investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy is joining us now with how these guns were smuggled north. Chuck?
Stephen Ellis and 5 men tied to Chicago street gangs appeared in a music video with machine guns hoisted over their heads. Guns they referred to by the code word pipe and themselves as the pipe lords, according to U.S. investigators. The men tonight facing federal charges accused of making legal gun buys in Georgia, then supplying the arsenal to their gang brothers in Chicago. This man accused of being at the top of the Chicago gang gun trafficking pyramid, 28-year-old Anthony Edmonds, seen here holding a Glock pistol that authorities say had been converted into a fully automatic machine gun. The beginning of the gun pipeline here in Athens, Georgia, where beginning in the year 2020, authorities say Edmond fed a 785-mile pipeline to Chicago, where gang leaders were stockpiling weapons. According to newly filed federal charges in Georgia, Edmond purchased guns from 5 different retail stores, falsifying paperwork and circumventing federal law. In custody now are 28-year-old Rafael Ralphie Enriquez, a Chicago gang operative with a violent criminal history stretching back more than a decade. And in custody, this Chicago man, 34-year-old Melvin Griffin, whose first gun arrest was 12 years ago. This music video, recorded in Georgia, is cited by federal prosecutors in their grand jury indictment, in which authorities say several of the accused Chicago gangbangers are seen brandishing Glock pistols that resemble those illegally bought for the pipeline. Investigators say the video, entitled Switchy, is a tribute to the illegal switches that turn regular pistols into fully automatic weapons. The alleged producer of the gun video is this man, 29-year-old accused Chicago gang member Elijah Lucina. He's a fugitive. And this 5th suspect, 28-year-old Keontis Reed, is also not in federal custody, but with good reason. The NBC Chicago investigative team has found Reed. He was arrested for shooting an unarmed 16-year-old boy in the head 4 months ago, near this intersection in South Bend, Indiana. Investigators say the killing may have occurred during a drug buy gone bad. Reed is now in local custody here at the St. Joseph County Jail, facing murder charges and being held without bond. Investigators have not revealed whether the .45 caliber pistol Reed is accused of using to kill the teenager was one of these, obtained through the Georgia to Chicago pipeline. ATF is the primary agency on the gun pipeline case. Agents from U.S. Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms tonight have pieced together a remarkable timeline of guns from Georgia and violent crimes in Chicago, beginning with gun shipments by car and even via checked luggage on commercial flights coming into O'Hare. The guns later used in murders, carjackings, armed robberies, or just for personal protection, which you may need if you're in that line of work.
But hopefully by shutting this pipeline down, hopefully that means less violent crime in Chicago?
You would hope so.
All right.
After the court appearance today for two people charged in the death of a Plainfield man who was found dismembered in Lake Mattoon. James Adams and Robin Turner will stay in custody. The judge gave the state more time to file petitions for denying pretrial release. The two were arrested last week, days after the remains of Dale Wayne Turner were found.
Another court appearance is scheduled for one of the people charged with killing and dismembering a man from Plainfield.
Eric Drung is in the newsroom with the latest. Eric?
James Adams is set to go before a Will County judge later this morning. The 26-year-old is accused, along with 62-year-old Robin Turner, of killing Turner's husband and Adams' half-brother, Dale Wayne Turner. The three lived together in Plainfield. After the killing, prosecutors say the pair dismembered the body and used concrete and plastic bags to try and hide body parts in Lake Mattoon in east central Illinois. Some of those body parts were discovered late last month. Prosecutors say the pair confessed to Dale Wayne's brother and told him Dale Wayne had become physically violent with them before the stabbing. They also say more body parts, including the head, were found in a freezer at the Plainfield home. Prosecutors have filed motions to have the two detained while their cases make their way through the court system. Robin was in court yesterday. They say the two are a danger to Dale Wayne's brother. We are live in the newsroom. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
Yeah, Mark, Judy, we're learning from investigators the shooting happened in the early morning hours after a July 4th get-together. Today, authorities in Lake County telling us 31-year-old Ernesto Posadas was arrested Sunday, the same day he allegedly shot and killed 10-year-old Montana Weathers and seriously injured a 51-year-old man. The shooting happened early Sunday just before 1 a.m. in the 200 block of Chase Street in Gary. Both Weathers and the man who had been shot were taken to Methodist North Lake Hospital, where Weathers was pronounced dead. Later Sunday, Posadas was taken into custody by Gary police officers during a traffic stop on Interstate 8094. According to a probable cause affidavit, detectives were able to review Ring doorbell footage that allegedly shows Posadas and another man pull up to a home on Chase Street, get out of a black minivan, and ultimately open fire. Investigators say Posadas had been at that home earlier for a 4th of July party with his girlfriend before leaving after the two had an argument. They say Posadas later returned with another man and both fired shots at the front porch where his girlfriend, the 10-year-old boy, and two others were located. Weathers was hit in the head while the 51-year-old was hit in the stomach. Prosecutors say Posadas is a serious violent felon under Indiana code with a known criminal history, including a conviction of aggravated kidnapping in Cook County in 2018. Posadas is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow morning at 8:30 in Crown Point.
Gary police now have a suspect in custody in the shooting death of a 10-year-old boy who's been identified as Montana Weathers. The shooting happened this past Sunday in the 200 block of Chase Street. Police are charging a man from Chicago, 31-year-old Ernesto Posadas, in the case. He was arrested during a traffic stop on Interstate 8094 later in the day following the shooting. A 51-year-old man was also hurt. He was listed in critical condition. No word yet on a possible motive in this case.
We broke this news yesterday on The Loop after police announced an arrest for the holiday weekend murder of a 10-year-old boy in Gary. Brittany Toulis joins us live with today's updates. Hey, Brittany, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, hi, Lauren. Ernesto Posadas appeared in court. He was called by the judge at around 11:30 this morning. We know he's facing 9 charges, including murder, 3 attempted murder charges, weapons charges, and vehicle theft. Now, we know he's being held without bond, and we also know he's been previously convicted of a violent felony. That came out in court. That violent felony out of Cook County. It is stemming from an aggravated kidnapping case in 2018. Now, also came up in court right now. He's not on parole, but he is currently out on bond in Cass County, but the judge did not say any information on what those charges were stemming from. We also learned more from the probable cause documents as well. In that, we learned more about the injuries of the victims. 10-year-old Montana Weathers was shot and killed. This document saying he was shot in the head. A 51-year-old man was also shot and in critical condition. He was transported to University of Chicago Hospital. We learned that specific hospital as well in these probable cause documents. We also learned a little more about the relationship between some of the people at the party. The party host, Montana, was the party host's nephew. The 51-year-old man was the party host's brother. It's unclear, though, if the two victims are father and son or just other relatives. Now, when the shooting happened, witnesses told police that it happened just before 1 a.m. On Sunday after they were seeing fireworks. They said earlier in the night, Posadas was at that same party and had a fight with his girlfriend and left. They said he left around between 10 and 11 p.m. Then those witnesses told police that Posadas came back and basically opened fire on the home. One of them said they pushed 10-year-old Montana out of the way, out of the gunfire, and unfortunately when they got up after those shots stopped, they saw him laying on the ground. So that is what we know from witnesses ahead of time. Now, investigators investigating this in these probable cause documents say that they found 8 to 10 shell casings outside of the home on the sidewalk. They say witnesses say they saw 2 men running to a black minivan after those shots were fired. That minivan had those 2 men and a driver, so 3 people, at least 3 people total in that minivan. Someone from the house also told investigators that they fired shots at that vehicle as it drove away. So that's what people said happened that night. Now, there was also ring footage from that house where this all happened that investigators had, and in that ring footage, they said they could see the license plate from that black minivan. They also said before the shooting they did not see any bullet holes in that black minivan. They said that they saw at least 2 shooters in that footage. One of those shooters was wearing the same exact distinct Chicago Bears shirt that footage saw Ernesto Posadas walking into that party with, wearing that same exact shirt, or a shirt that looked just like that shirt earlier in the day. That same shirt caught on ring footage both times, one with Ernesto wearing it walking into the party, then one of those shooters wearing a similar shirt, according to investigators who watched this ring footage. They also say Posadas was arrested on Sunday in the afternoon. They say they made that arrest using license plate readers. As I said, that ring camera caught that vehicle as it was driving away. It also caught a shot of that license plate. Investigators said that license plate readers caught that car in the area at the time of the shooting, and then the next day around 1 p.m. on Hatcher Boulevard, police saw that vehicle, or a license plate reader flagged that vehicle. Police then pulling that vehicle over on I-80, I-94, and Ernesto Posadas identifying himself as the driver of that vehicle. Now, this is what we have so far. Posadas, though, has denied these allegations to investigators in those court documents. He initially denied being in Indiana altogether to police, and later in the interview with Posadas, he admitted that he was at that party, but then he said when he left, he did not come back to the party. That is what Posadas is saying. But guys, there's a lot of information, a lot of seeming evidence in these probable cause documents. And again, he's facing 9 charges here. He's saying he has it came up in court that he has a previous violent felony conviction out of Cook County in 2018. It also came out that he right now is out on bond out of a charge in Cass County, or out of a case in Cass County. There was no information on what those charges were, though. We do know he'll be in court next on July 15th, though, Lauren, and we'll be following this. But just a lot of information and just such a sad story. 10-year-old little boy killed right after watching fireworks with his family, and a 51-year-old man now fighting to keep his life at a Chicago hospital after all of this. And they said Ernesto Posadas charged with that murder and charged with that attempted murder, along with 8 other charges.
Yeah, just heartbreaking, Brittany. Really comprehensive reporting there. And July 15th, that's a week from today, so we know that you'll be on top of it. Thank you so much.
A Loyola University student was murdered during a walk with friends at the beach. Now prosecutors hope for a guilty verdict as her accused killer heads to court. WGN's Emmy Victor joins us live from criminal court. Emmy?
Well, that's right. That discovery hearing only lasted about 10 minutes today, Dina, but the court briefly did address 3 separate cases involving Jose Medina. Let me tell you about those. The first set of charges stem from the shooting of 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman. The freshman at Loyola University was killed back in March. Now, according to Chicago police, Gorman and a group of friends, they were walking near a beach in Rogers Park when a masked gunman approached them. Prosecutors did say that the gunman opened fire and shot Gorman in the back. Medina, an undocumented migrant from Venezuela, was later arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the case. Defense attorneys claim he was shot in the head in 18 and has the mentality of a child. Now, in addition to those murder case charges, Medina also faces charges for possessing a homemade shank in custody. Prosecutors say Cook County jail guards discovered the weapon hidden in his clothing during a routine search. He's also facing charges from a 2023 shoplifting case. Now, today's court appearance comes just 1 week after Sheridan Gorman's mother testified on Capitol Hill. Jessica Gorman called her daughter's death a preventable tragedy and demanded tougher consequences for undocumented migrants who commit violent crimes. While members of the Gorman family were not in today's hearing, they did, however, attend in person right here last month. According to officials in court, Medina is set to appear in court again on July 27th. His attorney also did mention that Medina suffered a seizure while in jail recently, and they requested a medical evaluation from the court. Medina was seen using a cane during today's appearance. We're reporting live from 26 in California. Amy Victor, WGN News.
The man charged with the murder of a Loyola student faced a judge this morning. The court briefly addressed 3 separate cases involving Jose Medina. The first was the killing of 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman. Gorman was walking on the beach with friends in March when prosecutors say Medina came out of the bushes and opened fire. Medina also faces charges for having a homemade knife while in custody and for shoplifting back in 2023. Medina was using a cane during today's hearing. His attorney says he recently had a seizure while in jail.
2 men were shot multiple times on Chicago's far south side overnight.
Eric is live at the latest. Eric?
Good morning. The 2 35-year-old victims are listed in critical condition here at Christ Hospital. According to Chicago police, they were hit multiple times while they were parked in a car. A tremendous amount of gunshots were fired just after midnight while the 2 were parked near 116th and South Ada. That's in the city's West Pullman neighborhood. Detectives spent much of the early morning hours looking for evidence. It's unknown how many shooters were involved. Police did not release any type of description of the car or suspect or suspects may have been in or if they were on foot. Both men were taken here to Christ Hospital. Once again, the 35-year-old victims are in critical condition this morning. We are live at Christ Hospital. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
We now know the name of a man who was shot and killed on the southwest side. Officers who were investigating his death had to break up a large crowd nearby.
Eric is live at CPD's 9th District with more. Eric?
Good morning. The 26-year-old victim in that deadly shooting has been identified as Daryl Hall. The crowd that gathered after the shooting gathered soon after police started their investigation.
No loitering. Please disperse. No loitering. Please disperse.
Police made at least 1 arrest as they tried to break up the large gathering of people that had spilled out into the street near 54th and Peoria in the back of the yards neighborhood. There are also reports bottles and objects were thrown at police. Not long before the crowd formed, Chicago police say the 26-year-old victim was shot and killed nearby. Police found him in the street with a gunshot wound to the chest. No arrests have been made in that case just yet. Again, the victim was identified as 26-year-old Daryl Hall of Chicago. We are live in Bridgeport. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
New details in a shooting in Manor Park. Cook County Crime Stoppers now offering a $10,000 reward for information on the killer. 34-year-old Antonio Webb was killed 2 days ago. Police say he was standing outside near 67th and Cottage Grove when 2 SUVs pulled up. People got out and shot him. The gunman then got away. If you have any information, you can call police or leave an anonymous tip at the Crime Stoppers tip line.
A man from Rockford suspected of murder was arrested in Los Angeles yesterday.
He's avoided arrest for 5 years. Eric is in the newsroom with more. Eric?
Good morning. The 29-year-old was involved in a short police chase just before being arrested. Police say Isaiah Rucker led them on that chase, just 2 minutes long, and ended when Rucker crashed into a laundry truck. Police in Rockford say Rucker is one of 2 suspects wanted in connection to the murder of 39-year-old Drake Stewart. Stewart was found shot to death in 2021 in a car. It is unclear this morning when Rucker may be moved from Los Angeles back to Rockford to face those charges.
We are live in the newsroom. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
The man wanted for murder in Illinois is now in custody after a police chase in Los Angeles. This is the aftermath of yesterday's chase. LAPD says the suspect crashed into a van, then a fence, causing his car to roll over. Rockford police say 29-year-old Isaiah Rucker is accused of shooting and killing a man in 2021. Police say they had no idea where Rucker was until he showed up in L.A. We're told he was taken to a hospital after the crash and is expected to be extradited back to Illinois once he's cleared. We have reached out to U.S. Marshals for more details on what led to the chase and how Rucker ended up in California.
More breaking news right now, this time out of Hollywood. LAPD chasing a possible murder suspect through the streets.
Let's head straight to Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes, who spoke to neighbors, Rob, about what happened.
Yeah, pretty wild ending to that pursuit. The suspect's car slammed into a laundry van there at the intersection of North Cherokee and Fountain. Then the car careened down this street, lost control, and rolled over, ending up on its side. The driver, police say, wanted in connection to a murder in Chicago. On the ground and in cuffs, but not until a short but dangerous pursuit through Hollywood. The person arrested, a suspect in a Chicago homicide case, pulled by LAPD officers from the upside-down car they were driving.
Everything happened fast and it was crazy.
Construction worker Avias Alcantara was on lunch break in his truck when the pursuit surprised him. The suspect's car followed by a long line of LAPD units. And right in front of him, at the corner of Fountain and Cherokee, the suspect's car slammed into this laundry truck.
The car hit the small van, and then, and then it started going on the street and then hit the fence on the house and roll over.
Alcantara says the suspect was barely able to walk after the wreck. Police had to get him out of the overturned car before he was taken by ambulance to a hospital. Where the car careened down Cherokee, that is where Alcantara says he and his fellow construction workers usually take their lunch break.
I probably wouldn't be telling this story right now.
LAPD has not released any information about the homicide case that suspect is connected to. He was taken to a local hospital. His condition is unknown. Reporting live in Hollywood, Rob Hayes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Family says there have been many theories as to what could have happened here that night in March, but it's been over a year now and there are still no answers. The family is speaking out tonight because they believe someone out there knows something and they're hoping their message will reach them tonight. It's been more than a year since 24-year-old Bibiana Ruano, known to thousands online as Bibi the King, was shot and killed.
We don't know what happened to my brother who did it, and we believe everyone's guilty till they're proven innocent.
Police say the popular content creator was shot and killed on March 1st near 18th and Blue Island.
We are like one of the realest couples on the show.
According to family, he had been invited to a party and was told where to park. As he walked toward the gathering, they say an SUV pulled up and someone opened fire. His family believes he may have been set up. Investigators have not publicly confirmed that theory.
There's a lot of information that just doesn't make sense. We've heard multiple stories from people that we thought we trusted. And it's just, we all are grieving and we all lost someone so good, such a good person, but it doesn't make sense.
Since the shooting, the family says they've knocked on doors, talked with neighbors, and asked nearby businesses for surveillance video, hoping to uncover something investigators may have missed. The family says there is surveillance video connected to the case, but because the investigation remains active, they've been given few details.
They do have video footage, but it's just not enough information, probably. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the information myself.
And they're not letting you see some of the information. They won't let you know some of the details, correct?
No, because it's an ongoing investigation, and I guess they fear that if someone leaks information out, that it's just going to diminish their case.
His sister remembers Bibiano as someone who brought people together, whether it was through music, social media, or simply being with family.
Every family occasion we had, he came in and all eyes were on him. We were all excited that he was here. And he really was the glue to our family.
She's now urging anyone with information to come forward.
I just want them to be honest. I want them to do the right thing. I want them to give my family closure because we deserve that. Junior doesn't deserve to have left the world that he did. It's very unfair. He was so young, and I just want them to do the right thing. And sooner or later, regardless, justice will be served.
We reached out to Chicago police today. They tell us there are no updates on this case and the investigation is ongoing. If anyone out there has any information, you're urged to call Chicago police or the Cook County Crime Stoppers. There is a $10,000 cash reward for any information that can lead to an arrest. We're live here in Pilsen tonight. Leslie Marino, Fox, Chicago.
Leslie, hopefully by raising awareness, they'll get to the answers they're seeking. Thank you.